Hey, welcome back. I'm Carissa, and I'm going to do another round of winter sowing. It is one of my favorite methods to start, especially perennials, cold hardy vegetables and flowers, and then of course later in the season, come March or April, depending on temperatures, even things that love the heat like tomatoes or even zinnias. Anyway, it is a lovely day out here. It is actually 10 degrees, which is unheard of for January. That's about 50 degrees Fahrenheit, I believe. So anyway, the snow has melted and I thought, why not be outside and enjoy myself outdoors winter gardening at this time of the year. So I've made a video about the basics of winter sowing. I think it's pretty thorough. I will link it below in the description. But today I'm just going to be doing it again. So if you're interested in further tips, I actually collaborated with another fellow gardener. So I'll link that one in the description below. Today I'm going to be adding a few more to my pile. So behind me you can see I've got my other ones. And you might wonder about the temperature fluctuations. Nothing has germinated yet. So there are no leaves to get frostbitten. Nothing has germinated. They're still doing that little winter sleep process that that perennials need, the cold stratification process, in order to germinate. So they're totally fine with the weather fluctuation. So the basics of winter sowing, you are just replicating what happens in nature, right? Beautiful flower is produced on a plant, it turns into a seed, it falls to the ground, and as the winter and the spring temperatures change, that seed is sent signals to start germination. So we are essentially replicating that with our little greenhouses, which is a milk jug for myself. So you are going to remove the lid. You do not need the lid. You are cutting just below the handle and leaving a little bit just to hold on for your handle, and it makes a nice hinge. So first, it is much easier to do your drainage holes. Sometimes I do not, and I end up sort of fighting with the jug. All right, so there's 4 drainage holes at the bottom. And there we go. Nothing fancy, but it will be perfect for what we're using it for. And then, like I said in my last video, I find adding a good amount of soil is beneficial because these plants are very hardy, very resilient, and very determined to grow. So giving them enough soil is definitely important because by the time you're planting, come April or May, when you're planting these out, they are going to be very, very established. Their root system is going to be quite large. You will be very impressed. So I would definitely make sure to use a good amount of soil. They will use it. So that is how you prepare the jug. And now let's get into what I'm going to be sowing today. So I did a lot of perennials behind me, and I think I have a lot of perennials this time as well. So I bought this packet. This is Mackenzie's Seed Company, and this is Creeping Thyme, which is a beautiful ground cover with those beautiful purple flowers that pollinators love. This looks like a huge container, but it's actually filled with a lot of vermiculite. I think it's maybe 1% seed, and then the 99% is vermiculite, which does help with spreading your seeds. But be aware when you're buying a bag like this, right? It seems like it's a lot of seed, but actually 99% of it is vermiculite. But anyway, it was a good price anyway, and it germinated really well for me last year when I grew it. So I'm going to add some more. I really love this, and I think it'll be great. So this is what I'm going to be sowing. And then I have a few more perennials that I'm going to be doing. Mullein, which is verbascum, and this is the antique rose rosetta. And I have a few echinaceas. This one is green twister, paradiso super duper, echinacea double decker. I love those little frilly tops. And echinacea Allen's Pride. All right, and then I have a salvia, Rose Rhapsody, and another mullein, verbascum, and this is Southern Charm. And I'm going to be trying, I've never grown heuchera from seed, but this is Bressingham Hybrid, and this is a heuchera. Speedwell Veronica. I love salvias, veronicas. They just add such an interest to the garden, and they're great for cut flowers as well. And then I have Lady's Mantle and the Thriller variety. I'm excited to see how that does winter sowing. It should do fine. And then a couple Black-Eyed Susans. These are the annual variety. I hope they perennialize, but I'm not sure if they will, but that's all right. They would be great as an annual as well. And I have Sahara and Cherokee Sunset. And then the last one I'm going to do, if I have enough milk jugs, is Verbena bonariensis. And I did sow this indoors, but I'm also going to try it with the winter sowing method. I really love to experiment and see which varieties do well with different methods. So it'll be really interesting to see how this one does. And then it'll also give me a good indication of if this is a self-seeder in my area. It's nice to sort of try it in a more contained area, right? Because if it does sort of take over, it could be a little bit problematic. So it'll be nice to have it in my winter jug as a tester. All right, so those are the varieties I'm going to be trying. I'm going to be filling my milk jugs, like I said, with a good amount of soil, and then start my sowing. All right, so let's get sowing. I'm going to start with my creeping thyme, which, like I said, has vermiculite mixed in with the seed. So I'm going to be spreading this quite generously. That looks like a ton, but I think it will do great. I actually prefer to use duct tape. I did use this last time. It doesn't seem to hold up quite as well, and right now it's not an issue, but I think later when we have a little bit more pest pressure, like the chipmunks who come and are a little bit curious to dig in our pots, it might be an issue then. So I might be adding duct tape later in the season. But for now, this works. There we go. Marked it, and I'm going to put it in my pile. All right, now we have verbena, the Southern Charm mullein. There are only 10 seeds in this little packet, so I think I'm just going to commit and put all of them in here. Well, Baker Creek was very generous. I think there was definitely way more than 10, probably 20. But it does say on the back of here we can thin them as they germinate, so I think I'll be doing that because I'll be checking on these often anyway. When your seeds are so tiny like those ones were, don't worry about burying them. They seem to germinate fine. It's only when your seeds are quite large, if you think of like a sunflower, you're planting that one a little bit deep. But typically little seeds can germinate fine on the top of the surface soil. Okay, now my other verbascum, which is the antique rose. This one, there's more seeds, so I'll probably just be sprinkling a few in here. And this one's more hardy. This is zones 4 to 8. I think the other one was zones 5 and up. We are just on the verge, so I think it'll do fine. On to the next one, Salvia Rose Rhapsody. It really does go fast. If you get all of your things prepared, it does seem like it doesn't take a lot of time at all. Okay, and now my Allen's Pride echinacea. These seeds are a little bit larger, so I think I probably will bury these a little bit. And an easy way to do this would just be to rough up the soil and then rough it up again as soon as you're done with sowing your seeds. So I'm just taking my finger and sort of mixing it in, and that should be fine. Most of these milk jugs are from previous years of using them for winter sowing, and they're a little bit misshapen. So I find tucking them in sort of helps me tape them up because they're not shaped the way they typically are. Another echinacea. This is double decker. Same for this one. I'll just be roughing up the soil just to bury them slightly. Another echinacea. Can you tell I love them? This is the Paradiso. My last echinacea for this round is Green Twister. And Lady's Mantle Thriller. It'll be interesting to see how this one matures. Some perennials aren't really worth it to grow by seed, but some definitely are. They mature quite fast and they give you a good bang for your buck and sort of establish nicely. So we'll see how this one does. These are tiny, tiny seeds. The sun is coming out and it is getting warmer. Oh, it's beautiful. Feels like spring already. but it is not. Okay, and then here I have Veronica Speedwell. Again, a ton of plants in this tiny, tiny little packet, so I'm just going to sprinkle them in. I'm going to put this one aside because if I have more jugs and soil, I might do more of this one because I have a ton of seeds and I love Speedwell. It's a beautiful one. And the heuchera, also known as coral bells. I'm not sure how many seeds I have of this one, but we will soon find out. Oh, there's a ton. I might do another one of this one as well. Because I have a lot of shade areas to sort of plug these plants in, so I think I'll want a lot of them. Tiny, sort of like poppy, tiny seeds, almost like poppies. Verbena bonariensis, I believe I have a ton of these seeds, but they're very tiny. And now some rudbeckias. These are quickly becoming one of my favorite plants or flowers in the garden. They're just such easy plants to grow. They bloom prolifically and pollinators love them. What is not to love about them? Another rudbeckia, Cherokee Sunset. The colors on this one look so fantastic. I definitely had more seeds left in this packet than the other one, so a note to my future self, if germination seems to do better with my Cherokee Sunset than the Sahara, it's because I planted more of the seeds. All right, my last two jugs, I will be doing more heuchera and Speedwell because I have tons of those seeds and I want more of them in my garden. Well, that is all the winter sowing I am doing for today. I'm excited about all of those varieties and I will take you along as they germinate and as I plant them out in the garden. And some interesting math for you. So I have 27 jugs there and on average I'll probably get about 6 plants per jug. So that's 162 plants. Crazy how many plants you can get started in such a small space with such limited supplies and resources and effort and money, etc. Anyway, I hope you try winter sowing. Let me know in the comments what you are sowing. It is such a fun and easy way to get things started. Anyway, hope you have a great day and I'll see you next time.